She's another Vermonter who reached out to my office concerned about the fate of the Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Care Act. Martha earns just over the minimum wage in Vermont. She works for the Vermont State Parks, and she's raised 2 kids on her own. Just look at this person. Soon after rolling now in the expanded Medicaid program, she began experiencing debilitating pain in her ear behind her eye. It led to a series of expensive medical tests, including 2 MRIs. It would cost $6,000 each. She shudders at the thought of what would have happened without the Medicaid expansion. If it's discarded now, as Republican attorneys general have requested a case before the Supreme Court, millions of Americans like Martha would be on their own. Now, I do not suggest that Judge Barrett personally desires these consequences or personally desires to devastate the lives of these 2 Vermonters. Far from it. But these are nonetheless the consequences if her stated views on the law prevail in the Supreme Court, and if Republicans are successful in filling this vacancy prior to November 10th. Well, then we know these views will almost certainly prevail. So that's what's at stake here. That's what weighs heavily on me as we begin these hearings. It also weighs heavily on the minds of the Vermonters I represent. I've heard from them often and loudly since Justice Ginsburg's passing. They're scared, Judge Barrett. They're scared that your confirmation would rip from them the very health care protections the millions of Americans have fought to maintain, and which Congress has repeatedly rejected eliminating. They're scared that the clock will be turned back to a time when women had no right to control their own bodies, and when it was acceptable to discriminate against women in the workplace. They're scared that at a time when we are facing the perilous impacts of climate change, bedrock environmental protections are going to be eviscerated. And they're scared that your confirmation would result in the rolling back of rights, workers' rights, and the rights of the LGBTQ community to equal treatment. These aren't just thoughts. These are real-life implications of decisions made by the court. And a majority of Americans, like an overwhelming majority of my fellow Vermonters, don't support taking our country in that direction. Our Republicans first announced their intention to fill Justice Ginsburg's seat just 1 hour after her death. From that moment, this process has been nothing but shameful. Worse, it will almost certainly lead to disastrous consequences for Americans. Justice